So this video today, we're going to go over the quiz 9 review. So our first question here is ln of x minus 5 is equal to 3 ln 4. And what we want to do here is we want to solve for x, okay? So we're going to first move this 3 over to there. And so I'm going to write ln of x minus 5 is equal to ln of 4 to the third. Now, since we have an ln on both sides, they basically cancel each other out. So I'm going to have mark through those. So I'm going to get x minus 5 is equal to 4 to the third, which is 64. So then I just add 5 to both sides. So that's going to be x is equal to 69. And if you want to check this, you can actually do the ln of 64, and that's equal to the ln of 64, right? So that's what you can do up here, okay? All right, so the next one, we have a log base 5 of x plus 4 plus a log base 5 of x equals 1. So we're going to rewrite this log base 5, and we're going to do the x plus 4, and we're going to multiply it by the x. Now, the reason why we're multiplying it when we condense is because there's a plus sign there. So anytime you see a plus sign, you're going to multiply. That's going to be equal to 1, okay? So I'm going to keep simplifying this for right now. Log base 5 of x times x is x squared. 4 times x is 4x. So that's what I got now, and that's equal to 1. Now I'm going to go ahead and write it as an exponential, okay? So I'm going to take my base, which is here. The base is the base is the base. Take it to the power of what's on the other side of the equal sign. That's to the first. And that's going to be equal to the x squared plus 4x. So now what we're going to do is subtract that 5 from both sides. So we're going to subtract 5 because 5 to the first is obviously 5. So this is going to be 0 is equal to, over here to x squared plus 4x minus 5. Now what we're going to have to do is factor this, okay? So 0 is equal to, we're going to go ahead and factor the negative 5. What are your factors of negative 5 that add up to positive 4? So that would be plus 5 and minus 1, right? Now remember, we're going to set both of these equal to 0. So this is going to be x equals negative 5, and this is going to be x equals 1. Now what we must do with both of these is check them, okay? So obviously, negative 5 plus 4 up here, if I do negative 5 plus 4, that's a negative 1. Well, I can already tell by that we cannot use the negative 5. It's going to be an extraneous solution. So I'm going to put an x through that, and I'm going to write extraneous here. But when we put that 1 up there, 1 plus 4 is 5, and the log base 5 of 1 is okay. So these right here, 1 works for both of them, okay? So here again, what you can do is you can actually put them in those problems and work it, okay, to see. And another way to do it is take this 1 right up here and put it here. 1 squared plus 4 times 1 is what? That's 5, and 5 minus 5 is 0, okay? That's a good way to check it. You could also put it up there, okay? All right, so now the next one is going to be log base 7 of 10, and that's going to go on top because it's positive. We're going to put our x minus 2 on the bottom because it's negative, and that's going to be equal to our log base 7 of 23. Okay, so now because there's a log base 7 on the left and the right, we can actually eliminate it. Okay, so we're going to mark through it on both sides, and we're just going to do 10 over x minus 2, and that's equal to 23. Well, hopefully you guys remember how to get rid of something that's in the denominator. We're going to multiply both sides by it. So this is going to be multiplied by x minus 2, sorry, and this is going to be multiplied by x minus 2. So now that x minus 2 goes away, right? So we have 10 equals 23 times x is 23x. And then we have 23 times negative 2, that's going to be negative 46. So we're going to add 46 to both sides. So that's going to give us 56 is equal to 23x. So our last step is going to be to divide both sides by 23. Right? Okay, 56 divided by 23 is, let's see, I did it somewhere on my paper, 2.435. And again, you can plug it back up in there. 2.435 minus 2 is still a positive number, okay? So we're going to plug it back up in there to make sure it works, and it does. Okay, so that was our answer there. All right, so now let's go on to number 4. This one says solve the equation. So we're going to turn this back into a log, okay? So we're going to say log base 5 of our 8. Remember, where the base is the base is the base. We're going to take the of, whatever on the other side of the equal sign, and then we're going to set that equal to our x minus 3. So now we're going to use the change of base formula to rewrite this. So we're going to do log of 8. And what I always tell my students is if it's in the bottom, it stays in the bottom. That's why that log 5 is in the bottom. So you're going to divide the log of 8 by the log of 5. That's the change of base formula. And that's going to be equal to our x minus 3. So what I want you guys to do is in your calculator, take the log of 8, make sure you close that parenthesis on top, and then divide it by the log of 5. And when I did that, let me see, where's my paper? I got 1.292, and that's equal to x minus 3. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides. So that's going to give me 4.292. That's what is equal to x, okay? So that means that's my answer right there. All right, so the next one says solve as well. So we're going to go ahead and divide this one by 4 and 4, right? So that's going to give me log base 2 of the 3x plus 1, and that's going to be equal to 2. So now what we're going to do with this, again, is write it as an exponential. So when we write this as an exponential, we're going to do our base, which is 2, to the power of 2 over here. And that's going to be equal to our 3x plus 1. So this is going to be 4 equals 3x plus 1. So we're going to subtract 1 from both sides. So that's going to give us 3 is equal to 3x. Then we're going to divide both sides by 3. So x is going to be equal to 1. And if we do 3 times 1, that's 3, plus 1 is 4. So we're good to go there as far as it being an extraneous solution. Again, you could plug it in here to make sure you got the right answer. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4, and 2 times 2 is 2 to the squared is 4, okay? All right, this one says which equation represents the inverse of the function. So again, when we do inverses, we want to swap our x and y. So remember, this is normally y, so we're going to swap it with x, and we're going to say negative 4/5 at y, sorry. There's our y, minus 20. So our first step is going to be to add 20, right? So we're going to add 20 to both sides. So that's going to be x plus 20 equals negative 4/5 y. Now I need y'all to listen to me here. The big key here is I got to get 1 for in front of the y. So I'm going to have to multiply by a negative reciprocal, okay? So I'm going to have to multiply both sides by the negative 5/4. I only have to do this when the term is negative, okay? But we're going to multiply everything over here by the negative 5/4, okay? So that's going to give me negative 5/4 x. And then the way I do this, y'all, is I do the 20 over 1. So I notice that 20 is divisible by 4 5 times, right? So 5 times 5, or negative 5 times 5, is negative 25, okay? So that's going to be equal to, that's my inverse, right, y'all? Okay. So everybody listen. Again, this, if it's negative, then your inverse is going to be negative, okay? So it's one of the things you need to really look for, okay? If this was positive, your inverse is going to be positive. Here's the other thing. I'm going to multiply, and you guys can do this right in your calculator. Negative 5/4 times 20. You can do that. And actually, negative 5 times 20 is what? Negative 100, and negative 100 divided by 4 is still negative 25, okay? So there's a couple ways you can look at this, but so our answer, negative 5/4 minus negative 5/4 x minus 25 is right here, right? That's our answer, okay? Now, it says write the equation that represents the inverse here. Again, remember that's y, so we're going to make it x. X equals the 5th root of our 4y plus 15. So our first step is going to be to subtract 15 for both sides. So that's going to be x minus 15 is equal to the 5th root of 4y. How do I get rid of a 5th root? We take it to the 5th power, okay? Remember, we're going to take both sides of this to the 5th power here. So now we are left with x minus 15 to the 5th power is equal to 4y. Because remember, these two things cancel each other out, right? So then we're going to divide by the 4 to get our final answer. So that's what our inverse function is right there. It's equal to x minus 15 to the 5th power divided by 4. Okay? That's our answer right there. Okay, so the next one says condense. So when we're condensing, if it's addition, we're going to multiply. If it's subtraction, we're going to divide. So this is ln of 20 divided by 5y. Okay, so 20 is divisible by 5, isn't it? So this is going to end up being ln of 4 divided by y. Remember, just these two reduce, right, to be 4. Okay, so that was our answer there. Now the next one we're going to expand. So the first thing I want to do with a problem like this is break it up into parts. So I like to do the 3 over 12, and then the x to the 8th over the x to the 4th, and then our 1 over y. Well, we're not going to do anything to that 1 over y, right? So this one right here is going to be what? Reduced to be 1 over 4. And we're going to subtract the 4 from the 8. So this is going to end up being x to the 4th, and that's going to be on top, right? So now when we start expanding it, we're going to say the log of 4, but it's going to be negative, right? Because that 4's in the denominator, okay? And then we're going to do plus the log of x to the 4th, but where do we move that 4? To there, right? So we're going to actually go ahead and move it there, and I'm going to erase it, okay? And then we've got our plus, or no, it's minus because that y's in the bottom, right? So this is going to be minus log of y, okay? So remember, if something's in the bottom, notice here again, this 4's in the bottom. That's why that's negative. This y's in the bottom. That's why that's negative. The only thing we did with this one was we moved this 4 to the front because it's going to become the coefficient, okay? So there's our answer for that one. All right, the next one says, which equation represents the inverse of the function? So once again, we're going to swap our x and y. So x equals 3 log base 5 of our y minus 4 plus 8. So we're going to subtract 8 from both sides. So that's going to be x minus 8 equals 3 log base 5 of our y minus 4. Now we're going to divide both sides by 3, aren't we? You got it. So let me go down a little further so we have a little more space to work with. So now I have my x minus 8 divided by 3 is equal to log base 5 of my y minus 4. Now I'm going to turn it into an exponential. So I'm going to take my base right here, this 5, to the power of my x minus 8 divided by 3. And I'm going to set that equal to my y minus 4. So what's my last step? I got to add that 4, don't I? So that's what I'm doing. Last step, add 4 to both sides, right? So my f to the negative 1 of x here is going to be 5 times x minus 8 over 3 plus 4. That's my answer right there. Okay? Right there. Sorry. Got it? And so which answer is up there looks like it? X minus 8 over 3 minus 4. This looks like it's A, doesn't it, y'all? What number am I on? Number 9? No, wait, no. 5 to the x. Oh, no, that's a plus 8. So this is it right here, C, sorry. There it is. Okay, this one says which equation represents the function, the inverse function. So here again, we are going to swap x and y. So we're going to say x equals 12 ln of 4y minus 1. So we're going to divide both sides by 12. That's going to be our first step. So that's going to give me x over 12 equals ln of 4y minus 1. So how do we get rid of an ln? We take it to the e power, right? So that's going to be our power there. That's going to cancel those out. So we're going to end up with e to the x over 12 equals 4y minus 1. So we're going to add 1 to both sides, okay? So we're going to add 1 to here. We're going to add 1 to there. So we get e to the x over 12 plus 1 is equal to 4y. So our last step would be to divide by 4, right? So that right there is our inverse. So let's see if we can find that one. E to the x over 12 plus 1 over 4. Yeah. There's our answer right there, B. Okay. All right. So for 11 and 12, This one says which statements describe the graph of f of x equal to negative log x minus 1 plus 3. Select all that apply. Okay, so let's talk about this graph. So the first thing I notice is it's got a vertical asymptote, right? And that, ASMPM, there's an M in there. X equals 1, isn't it, y'all? Isn't that 1 right there? Okay, so obviously, which statements of the graph apply? Let's extend this just so I can move down a little bit. There we go. This one is definitely not true because it doesn't have a horizontal asymptote. Let's talk about our domain and range. So our domain, notice here's our asymptote, right, y'all? So if that's our asymptote right there, then we're going from 1 to infinity for our domain, and the graph is decreasing, right? Okay. And our range is going to be all real numbers, isn't it? Because it keeps going up and it keeps going down. So it's from negative infinity to infinity, right? So let's check these. Was the range from negative infinity to infinity? Yep. So that's one of our correct answers. The interval of decrease is from negative infinity to infinity. Yes, because no. That's not it. The interval of decrease is 1 to infinity, right? So that one's not true either. The domain is from 1 to infinity. That is true. So that's another one of our answers. And as x approaches infinity, where's the graph going? F of x is going down, isn't it, to negative infinity? So that's also not true. That should be negative infinity, okay? So our answers are B and D there. All right, so the next one says, on which interval are the values of f of x is equal to the square root of x plus 5 minus 3 positive, okay? So I need y'all to look here. So this is talking about the y values, okay? So that means from here on, they are positive. Y'all notice they're above 0, right? So let's check these out. From 2 to 5, nope, that's both positive and negative, right? Negative and positive. And from negative 2 to 4, that's all negative, isn't it, y'all? All right, let's talk about the next one. From 4, there's 4, to 10, yep, that's all positive, so I think that's our answer. But let's check the last one. From 3, there's 3, and there's 5, 6, 8. This is both, again, negative and positive, right? So we're looking at the y values here when it says on which interval are the values of. So we're talking about the x values, right, where the y values are positive. That's what it's asking us, okay? All right, number 13 says solve for x. So first thing we're going to do is subtract 9 from both sides. So that's going to give us negative 3 ln of 5x plus 8 equals negative 3. Then we're going to divide both sides by our negative 3. So we get ln of 5x plus 8 equals 1. Now, how do we get rid of an ln again, guys? Yep, we do e, okay? So we're going to take e to the ln and e to the first. So that cancels out. We're left with 5x plus 8. E to the first, let's see if I can find that on my paper, y'all, is 2.718, okay? Then we're going to subtract 8 from both sides. So that's going to give us 5x is equal to negative 5.282. And then we're going to divide both sides by 5, okay? So when we divide both sides by 5, we get that x is equal to, I'm going to put it up here, x is equal to negative 1.056, okay? All right, so we're on number 14. So this one we're solving for x again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and multiply both sides by that square root of 7x plus 15, because that's how I get rid of something that's in my denominator. Okay, so I'm going to do that on both sides. So when I do that, that cancels it from over here, so I get the square root of 7x plus, minus 15. No, it is plus 15. I just wrote it wrong up there, y'all. Let me do that again. 7x plus 15. Okay, so that's what I got under here, and that's equal to x plus 1. So how do I get rid of a square root? Yep, we got it. We square it, right? We're going to square both of these. So that's going to give us 7x plus 15, and then when we square this, it's x squared plus 2x plus 1. Then we want to subtract that 7x, right? And we want to subtract that 15. Okay, so now this is going to give us 0 over here, and that's x squared minus 5x minus 14. So what are the factors of negative 14, guys, that add up to be negative 5? Wouldn't that be x minus 7 and x plus 2? Set both of those equal to 0. So these answers are going to be x equals 7 and x equals negative 2. So once we find those two answers, we want to plug them back up in to see if they work, okay? So if we do 7 plus 1, that's 8, right? And if we do 7 times 7, that's 49, plus 15. So 49 plus 15, that's going to be 64, right? So what's the square root of 64, y'all? Square root of 64 is 8, and 8 divided by 8 is indeed 1. So that works, right? 7 works, but let's try the negative 2, okay? So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put the negative 2 up there. So when I do the negative 2 here, I get negative 2 minus, or plus 1 is negative 1, right? And down here, if I do negative 2, 7 times negative 2, that's going to be minus 14, plus 15, that's going to be 1, right? So the square root of 1 is 1, yes? So negative 1 over 1 is definitely not 1, right? So that is an extraneous solution. Okay? All right, so number 15 says, how long does it take for an investment to triple if it's compounded continuously at 5.4% interest? So this is our PERT formula, right? Our amount is going to be equal to PERT, okay? So if it's saying it's triple, we're going to go 3P, because our amount, we now have 3 times of it, right, is equal to PE to the 0.054 T power. Now on this problem, the P's, we can divide both sides by P, and that means our P is going to go away, right? So we're left with 3 is equal to E to the 0.054 T. Okay, question. How do we get rid of, an E? We take the ln, right, of both sides. Now that's gone. And the ln of 3, let me see if I can get myself, ln of 3 was 1.0986, and that's equal to 0.054, sorry, T. So we're going to divide both sides by 0.054. Here, let me extend my page here, y'all. I'm running out of space. 0.054, and that's going to give me for T, I got 20.3447. So that was this answer right here, C. Okay? Couple more, guys, and we're almost done. All right, solve for x. So here, we're going to actually add 9 to both sides first, okay? That's what I'm going to do before I move it down here. E to the x minus 12 equals, isn't that going to be 5? So how do we get rid of the E again, y'all? We take ln of both sides, right? So this is going to be, those are gone, so I get x minus 12 is equal to the ln of 5. And the ln of 5 was 1.609. So now I'm going to add 12 to both sides, right? So that means x is equal to 13.609. So it's C, okay? Number 17 says, if t times 7ry is equal to s, where r, s, and t are positive, which expression is equal to y? So we want to move everything but y, okay? So we're going to divide both sides by t right here first, okay? So that means I got 7ry is equal to s over t, right? Now we're going to write this as a log, okay? So we're going to say the log base 7 of our s over t, because you remember we take whatever was over there on the other side, right? And that's equal to our ry. So what would we do to get y by itself? We would divide by r, right? Divide both sides by r. So that is our answer right there. So log base 7 of s over t equals over r. That's our answer right there, okay? All right, we got one more, guys. So this is the formula again. A equals And this says the city population, which was initially 32,000 people, has been dropping, keyword, by 1.05% a year. In how many years will the population drop below 25,000? So this is going to be our initial amount, 1 minus r to the t power, right? So a is our final amount. So it says it was initially 32,000. So we're going to write that here. And then we're going to do our 1 minus our 0.0105. Remember, you got to divide that by 100 if you don't remember, to the t power, and that is going to equal our final amount, the 25,000. So what do we do next? We divide both sides by 32,000, right? That's our first step. Now you could do what's in the parenthesis first too, but that's up to you. Okay, so when I did that, I got 0.78125, and that was equal to, now I'm going to go ahead and do that 1 minus the 0.0105. And when I did that, I got 0.9895 to the t power. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to write it as a log, okay? So we're going to take log base 0.9895 of what's on the other side of the parenthesis, the 0.78125, and that's going to be equal to my t, right? So now we're going to use the change of base formula. So t is going to be equal to the log of that 0.78125 divided by the log of the 0.9895. Do that in your calculator, and when you do, you're going to get that this is equal to 23.4 years.